Welcome back to another episode of Sips and Spirits, a podcast for those that love spirits of both the alcoholic and spectral kinds. I am one of your hosts, Chelsea.
And I'm your other host, Eric.
Welcome to our 13th episode. Ooh.
13? Is it 13?
Yeah, look at that.
Snap, crackle pop. I know. 13? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I've never found 13 to be unlucky.
Some people find it very lucky.
Yeah.
Depends on your culture.
Yeah. Anywho. A little Oh, wait. I'm your other co-host, Eric.
Yeah.
Bam.
Did you forget to say who you were?
Hi. I'm just here.
We're just jumping right into the conversation tonight.
Little disclaimer. We're not historians. Any facts or stories presented are from various sources, and we mean no disrespect if anything is not presented 100% accurate. We make no claims as these tales are true. We just found them to be spooky and interesting in their nature.
Yeah. We are not mixologists, at least not professionally.
Nope.
Cocktails and spirits are tasted for the first time during an episode recording unless noted otherwise. Now, we can note we have had Bacardí
Yes.
before in drinks.
Yes.
I can't say I've had it straight up.
I have.
He has.
Shots.
And I'm going to preface this with I'm sorry if I sound a little off. I am fighting a cold, but we still really wanted to get this episode going.
Yep.
So, yeah.
But we never tried this Bacardí.
We have not tried the Bacardí Limón, which I'm curious to see. I know we usually do a shot of it before we taste it, but they recommend automatically on the bottle, best when mixed. So, if you're planning to drink this straight up, I'm already anticipating it not to be like the best shooter. Here.
Okay.
Anyways,
I can believe you.
Since it's like on the front of the bottle,
Okay.
but I don't want to keep you guys in silence.
Mm-hmm.
So while he's looking for that, I'll go ahead and introduce what we're drinking. And today we are calling upon a spirit from Bacardí Limited. For once, we don't have a location because Bacardí has now expanded to multiple locations worldwide. So it's really hard to pinpoint one exact location that it comes from because it's just expanded so much. So I just kept it to what their label is called now, which is Bacardí Limited. We're using their Bacardí Limón to summon a Bacardí Blood Moon to the table.
Blood Moon. This is our first time trying blood oranges, if that makes it anybody like first time for anything kind of thing. Anyway, let's take a shot of this bad boy. What else can you tell us while I pour this bad boy?
Okay, you want me to kind of just talk a little bit about Bacardí? I'm actually really excited because at first I was having a hard time finding some information, and then I just by chance stumbled across their history page, and it was actually really fascinating reading everything. And I tried not to include everything in here, but I have a lot of notes to go through, so I apologize in advance.
So I'm going to make a note about the bottle. I do like, we mentioned this in other bottles before, how the bottle cap has a nice little symbol, like their logo on them. I do like when distillers do that for their bottles. Like they just have a basic bottle cap.
Where they carry the branding through everything.
Yeah, so like, if you just decide to collect bottle caps or bottles, you still have the brand everywhere.
I agree. I really do like that. So, Bacardí was established in 1962 in Santiago de Cuba by Don Facundo Bacardí Masso. Yes. Masso's wife, Dona Amalia, discovered a colony of fruit bats living in the rafters of the distillery and suggested adopting the bat as the rum symbol. So he bought this distillery, it was brand new, and they noticed these bat sounds, and when they inspected, there was actually bats hanging out in there.
My grandma's house had an old tree, which they took down because they had bats in it.
Aw, but bats are so good to have.
But that was after she passed. That's when after my tia owned it.
Mm-hmm. Well, but that's sad.
You know what that swing is?
Uh-huh.
There used to be a giant tree there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of tree?
Giant. I need to ask my grandpa, but he's passed away.
Okay, so before we jump into the shot, I'm going to just read this.
Mm-hmm.
little fact, and then we can go into trying the thing in honor of the bats. Because, guys, this episode's about friggin' bats.
Freaking bats.
Okay, so apologize if I butcher this. So, Taino Indians believe bats were symbols of good health, family unity, and good fortune. Locals began to ask for the rum by the name of Leron de Murcielago.
Murciélago.
Murcielago?
Murciélago.
Murcielago.
Yes.
Which I'm guessing is the rum of bats?
Yes.
Of the bat?
Yeah.
Okay. Murcielago.
Murciélago. No,
No, sorry.
Murciélago.
Do you need to see it?
I forgot. How do you spell it?
Murcielago.
Murciélago.
Murcielago.
Murciélago.
Murcielago. Murcielago.
Yes. One of my favorite Lamborghinis is Murciélago.
Oh, really?
Yes.
The Lambo has a bat?
Lambo. Well, there's Murciélago. There's different animals for the Lamborghinis.
Oh, interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I thought they were all...
I mean, it's a bull.
Yeah, I thought they were all bulls.
No.
Okay. Well,
Anyway,
so we're about to try the rum of the bat.
the last time I shot Bacardí was a long time ago. But anyway, bottoms up.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's not bad.
Ooh. Add a little lemonade to this. Which is what they said.
This chilled would be really nice.
Yeah. Now I'm like, man, we really should have chilled it.
We gotta do better about that. We should start chilling oral liquor.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, we really should. 13 episodes in. You think we'd have it together by now. You know what? It was on the website that it said to drink chilled, or to mix. Best served mixed. But this is actually still really nice.
It's really nice. There's not that much of the Bacardi Classic burn.
It's really lemony. I love it.
Very sugary.
Yeah, it does. It tastes like,
Tastes like a lemonade with a little bit of rum in it.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't like sugar, if you don't do sugar drinks, you're not gonna like this straight up. But if you enjoy lemonades, like sweet lemonades, this would be great. Chill this, maybe a little bit of like a lime or lemon to give it a little tartness.
Mm-hmm.
Might be great.
Yeah.
Not bad. This is
No, I like it, actually.
Not bad.
I was not expecting it to taste so good
Yeah.
without being mixed, but
Back in college, it's one of those things like it comes up to every party. You have Jose Cuervo, you have Bacardi, you have Jack Daniels, kind of thing. Just basic things people are buying. What can you buy for $20?
right.
Kind of thing. And we used to just drink bottles and bottles of this, and then wake up the next day going, "What happened?"
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I think my first sticky drink was with Bacardi.
Yeah.
Like probably
I mean, yeah, Mai Tai
like pretty much
would have been made.
You know,
You can make a standard Mai Tai with a Bacardi.
does our Chinese restaurant make Mai Tais with Bacardi?
I believe so.
think so. Those good Mai Tais.
Although, maybe not Bacardi, but a white rum.
Yes, they do use rum. I forgot what it was. Should ask him.
And
Anyway.
I say that because I have a fun fact to share about any drink with Bacardi.
Ooh, fun fact.
So, okay, let's keep going.
Keep it going.
Learning a little bit more about the Bacardí family. The couple's son planted a coconut palm tree at the entrance of the distillery. This palm tree came to be affectionately called El Coco and becomes another symbol for both the family and the company. It has withstood countless hurricanes, 5 earthquakes, and a distillery fire. A prophecy begins to form around the palm tree, stating that the Bacardí company will survive in Cuba as long as the coconut palm lives.
Oye, coño.
What is that mean?
Oye, coño is like what's up, bro?
Oh,
But in Cuban.
okay. So, sadly, El Coco withers and dies in 1960. Around the same time, revolutionary government forces illegally confiscate operations and assets of the Bacardí distillery.
Doo-doo-doo.
Right?
What?
So it withers right before that, and then their all their assets and their property are seized the same year following that.
But now they're like worldwide, right?
Now they're worldwide, right? So they end up reviving themselves. So they escape. I forget. I didn't write it down because there was, like I said, there's a lot of history they share, and it's all very fascinating and it helps you understand. It's kind of like how when we saw Rain, and it's like, oh, that makes sense why the Beatles became like such a sensation. This is the same with Bacardi and why it's kind of just lasted. So they ended up, I hope I don't say it wrong because I didn't commit my non-facts to memory, but they end up relocating to, I think, Bermuda.
Okay.
And it's not the Mediterranean. What do you call that?
Caribbean.
The Caribbean, thank you.
Yeah. So they moved south a little
Right.
bit, I think.
So.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, so that's
I gotta look at a map. It's been a while since looking at a Cuba map.
That's in 1960, but prior to that, so they've already started expanding. They do move at one point into the Caribbean, and then Bacardi thrives as Prohibition era kicks in within the United States. So this is 1920s. This is before El Coco withers. And keep in mind, they established in 1862. So now it's the 1920s. They're thriving, turning Cuba into a tropical escape from the dry United States. And this is kind of the start of the whole idea of the tropical escapism, tourism, and fad that forms the tiki culture that we now know and love today. Well, at least that we love. So I thought that was very, very interesting.
Yeah, that's very cool.
And that's all the facts I'm going to leave you guys with. There's a whole lot more, and it's really, really fascinating with the company in regards to their history. But I just thought those were the most interesting things.
I've always found the communist aspect of Cuba very interesting. Not as like, I think that's a cool thing to do. I think communism is a bad idea overall. And what Fidel Castro did with Cuba was not a good thing. But I always find like interesting how, well, not how, but like just the whole history aspect of it. Starting with World War II, and then moving into the Cold War, and then the Bay of Pigs and all that stuff. It's just like, even just like imports kind of thing. Like like you couldn't get imports directly from Cuba for the longest time, and it wasn't until I want to say Obama that finally got lifted. But so if you were wanting anything from Cuba directly, you either had to go to Mexico and then go to Cuba, and then bring that over, or have it shipped to Mexico and then come up to. Like you couldn't, like at least from my understanding, you couldn't go directly from U.S. to Cuba and back because it just the politics behind this kind of thing and whatnot.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's interesting.
So I know after this whole, like, they have already started to branch out, and they also end up branching into Bermuda as well. And then they end up also establishing a distillery in Puerto Rico. And so that's where a lot of their tourism goes to, because they actually have a very special distillery built where you can essentially do a tour of the step-by-step, and it's actually one of the like top 10 touristy things to do in Puerto Rico is go visit the Bacardí factory.
Sweet.
Or distillery, not factory, sorry.
Bucket list.
But they have distilleries all over the world. They have bottling, what do you call that? Bottling factories, I guess.
Sure.
So the place where they do all the bottling is worldwide as well. So they've really grown. By law, any cocktail with Bacardi in the name must be served with Bacardí rum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, is there like?
So if you have, for example, our cocktail today is called a Bacardí Blood Moon.
Got it. Okay.
So you cannot substitute a white rum. So let's just throw out Trader Vic's white rum.
Okay.
Their silver rum, you can't use it if you're going to put it on your menu saying Bacardí Blood Moon. Now, you can have a cocktail with Bacardi in it.
And not call it Bacardi.
And you don't have to call it Bacardi.
Can a guest be like, hey, can I have the Bacardi Blood Moon, but like substitute the Bacardi with something top shelf?
They cannot. Legally, by U.S. law.
That's cool.
It's almost a similar thing to Miracle on 34th Street. They had a whole lawsuit in New York, of all places, and this is why I have the correlation with Miracle on 34th Street. So eventually New York deemed, or their verdict was that any cocktail with Bacardi in the name must be served with Bacardi.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's I can dig that.
That's kind of cool.
I can dig that. Cool.
I forgot to change that. I think I changed it on yours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong one.
You look at the wrong one.
Oh wait, I have more facts.
You got more facts. Oh, you got more things to say.
I do. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I
cool.
thought I was done, and I was
wanna
like,
try
wait
this.
a second. Yeah, I know. We usually do the tasting notes, but I was sharing a little bit of facts.
Let's taste this bad boy. You ready?
All right, you ready?
Cheers.
Cheers. What?
Oh.
What are you doing?
How are you doing?
There we go.
The recipe asks for ginger beer. We're not fans of ginger beer, so we replace it with ginger ale.
Yeah, I mean, Eric would probably put up with the ginger beer more than me. I really am not a fan. It's like, I don't know. I love ginger ale. It's one of my favorite sodas to go to. One of my favorite carbonated drinks, and which is perfect while I'm under the weather having a ginger ale cocktail.
But anyway, let's get this bad boy a try.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
That is delightful. That is very delightful.
I love, and so
Oh, wow.
we don't usually do the garnish, but I feel like the garnish really like brings out the flavor, because it brings out the aroma here in your nose.
Yes.
And then you're getting it come to life on your tongue as you're drinking it.
I'm getting the...
Excuse me.
That was lovely. I get the ale and then the lime and then the lemon afterwards. It's really nice flavoring.
Ooh, this is a dangerous drink.
That's a dangerous drink. You can get banged up in that one really quickly.
Yeah. So, and usually, you guys know, we don't typically do the garnish, but especially because Eric said he's never had blood orange
I've never
before.
had blood orange before.
I was like, I really want to find it. Now, we really wanted to make the blood orange from scratch, the blood orange syrup. But blood orange is not really in season right now. It's going to be March by the time this episode comes out. But when we did this, it was back in February. Or, no, back in January.
So in January. The new year just started.
So citrus fruits are not really...
I'm like, when's blood orange in season when the blood orange moon comes out? That's always very funny, the idea of a blood moon. And whenever I've told people, like, hey, you guys know a blood moon? That's when vampires attack men. And they're like, what? I'm like, don't worry about it.
Okay. So
that is delightful, though.
It is. I really like it.
Yeah.
Tell
me more.
Tell
me more. Tell me more.
I mean, it's got that nice citrusy blood orange flavor, but it's not overwhelming. I don't know if anyone's ever had like that blood orange soda, but it's not like too much of that. It's a good balance. We should have made this a double.
We should have made a double.
I am so sorry. I'm all these noises coming out of me today.
You ready for me? No.
I had one last.
One more thing.
Fact. So,
one more thing.
Bacardi celebrated its 150th anniversary in 2012 and has continued to set standards with a Triple Crown certification, most recognized standards for quality, environment, health, and safety, which includes... oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I wrote this weird. So, it has continued to set standards, being one of the only alcohols to earn a Triple Crown certification.
Yes.
Yep. So it's triple certified. It's most recognized. It is most recognized for its standards of quality, environment, health and safety. Their health and safety standards include continuous worldwide donations to disaster and recovery efforts, as well as most recently creating hand sanitizers to distribute to local communities and disinfectants provided to USPS workers, firefighters, and police. And that's something that stems all the way back to the original family when Cuba would have hurricanes. Don Fernando would make, he would do all this disaster relief efforts for his local community, because for him, community was one of the most important things, and how you thrive as a business. So they have carried that on over the past 150 years, whether through just monetary donations or through actual like efforts in disaster relief.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really cool and neat to share.
That's cool.
And I feel like we've been seeing a trend with a lot of distilleries and liquor manufacturers who are taking that greener outlet or really doing things to give back to the community. I know there's a liquor later on where they actually take their like remnants of what they use to put into making bricks and building houses with them and stuff.
Cool.
So yeah.
Groovy.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Pretty cool.
Awesome.
So if you're looking for this recipe, this lovely citrus forward,
Really good.
But definitely like this would be perfect to enjoy under a full moon in like a cold winter night or even in the middle of a hot summer day. I feel like it's a good like all year round kind of cocktail.
Hey, if you want to have a Halloween themed cocktail, boom, blood orange.
This happened to be one of their their Halloween cocktails.
There we go.
Which, if you're a Halloween fan, Bacardí has a whole section of just Halloween cocktail recipes.
Freaking bats.
So if you're looking for this cocktail, you can find it on their website. You can look under their Bacardí Limón tab, or you can search in their cocktail
like
page.
we did, just went down the list until
we went down the list until we found something that kind of fit
what we wanted to talk about. But anyway,
yeah,
that was groovy. That's very good. Cool stuff.
And there's so much more. It was really hard. I know I had a lot to share, and it was hard to narrow it just down to that.
You drink this stuff because it's available, it's around, and you never think about the history about it. But there's so much history behind this kind of things. And I was wondering when you were talking, is this our oldest liquor? 150?
I think so.
Cool. Kind of thing. I was just like thinking, like there's so much history behind liquor. It's not just drinking and getting drunk, but there's like so much things they've done and do. Kind of thing. You see the struggle. So much things they contribute.
Well, and I feel even just with the history of just spirits as they are, like liquor spirits, of course, it goes back. So there's so much history just in like how they started distilling spirits and then how they've changed the process of it and just how different companies have adapted and morphed and tried to be innovative with the creation of those spirits. So it's always so cool to jump into that history and learn a little bit about it, because I think it also kind of helps you have a deeper appreciation for the spirit and to kind of look at it in a different light.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my would you rather today is not as scary at all. It's a kind of more comical. But I have a question or a thought that I saw on one of the stories, Instagram stories while just flipping through it one day. And so I'll start with that one and I'll go with your rather other.
Okay.
Are you afraid of being alone in the dark? Or are you afraid of not knowing if you're alone in the dark?
Oh, that's a good question. Am I afraid of being in the dark or afraid of not being sure, essentially, if I'm actually alone in the dark?
Yeah.
Probably that second one, and thank you. Now that's all I'm ever going to think about. What the?
I saw that, I was like, oh, that's a good one. But that's relate to our episode, but still very good.
Oh my gosh. And you?
I definitely, I'm more afraid of not knowing if I'm alone. Because, like, even when I'm in the dark, like, I said this before, I'm not no medium or whatever. Like, I don't consider myself medium, or I have like any like special like powers or whatever to feel and stuff. But like, I can feel darkness. Like, I can feel like when the darkness is empty, but I can also feel when that emptiness is disturbed. And it, like, especially when you're not expecting it. Like when you're going down to a dark basement, you can turn off a light. You're expecting something to be there.
Well, I mean, even like you don't even have to have a basement. Just going from downstairs to upstairs,
yeah. Okay,
right?
like,
Every time you turn off the light, you still kind of sprint a little upstairs because you just don't know what might come out in the dark, right?
Like, let's say, for example, like in our house, like it's going downstairs, like we expect it to be empty when you go downstairs, but when you step downstairs and you feel something, it's like, am I alone here or not? But it's not like we all try to like walk quietly at nighttime and we all scare each other.
I know.
But I thought that was an interesting question.
That's a good question. Ooh.
But now let's go for a would you rather.
Wait, another one?
No, so that wasn't a would you rather.
That wasn't the would you... Oh, I thought that was the would you rather. Oh, that was a good one.
No, that was a good one. But
you could have just left it with that.
But I like this one better.
It's a 2 for today, guys.
2 for the guys. Okay. If you were to be a alcoholic vampire.
Sorry.
Would you rather be a alcoholic gin vampire or an alcoholic wine vampire?
So, like, you could only drink the blood of people who are alcoholics of either gin or wine?
Yes. Like, let's assume that because of that, they taste...
Gin or blood or gin or wine?
Gin or blood or gin or wine? What? Blood content with gin, blood content with wine.
Yes, that's what I was asking.
Yes. Let's assume that the liquor flavors the blood.
Okay.
This also assumes that you can sniff out which ones are the right ones.
Well, yes, of course. Naturally.
The real question is whether you like better gin or wine.
Oh, that's a hard one. I mean, I think you're going to get more prey with wine because it's just a safety. It's easy to get.
But the bad there's a lot of bad.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of
yeah. I mean, what was it? I can usually take quite a bit of wine before it affects me, but remember I had that, what was it? Dark Horse or something?
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 cans of that, and I should have known better. It was canned wine.
Mm-hmm.
So it must have had like a ton of preservatives or something that totally messed with my system.
Yep.
It took me out.
Took you out.
You know what? Let's go with gin. Cause, well, I don't think I've run into a bad gin.
No. You have some pretty good gins.
Yeah. I've run into bad martinis.
That's different.
But that's not the gin's fault. That's the bartender's.
That is the bartender's fault. There we go.
So, yeah, I think I'd go with, I'm going to sniff out the gin drinkers.
Because I'm not a gin or wine. I mean, I do drink gin or wine. But I think I'll be a whiskey bet.
You don't get to add other selections.
Well, I don't drink gin straight up or wine.
You should have just kept with the shadow one. That one was really good. Or not shadow, but the dark.
So I don't think my stories today are generally creepy, but they're definitely interesting for sure.
Okay.
So if you find them creepy, cool. But otherwise.
Well, I mean, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
no.
I'm one of those people. I don't think bats are creepy.
What about vampires?
Nah,
Are you
they're kind of silly.
Are you one of those like, oh, vampires?
I mean, you're married to me. You should know. I am the vampire. You're the werewolf. I'm the vampire.
Think.
But
beard struggle for this werewolf.
Okay. But yeah,
You ready?
mean.
You ready to go to Peru?
Ooh, Peru.
Yeah, we're going to Peru.
Okay. Let's go.
The pishtaco is a Peruvian vampire that is unlike other vampire lore. The pishtaco drains fat instead of blood. According to the legend, the pishtaco is a man-like monster from the Andes. He is a strange, often described as white man who kills indigenous people for nefarious, cannibalistic purposes, stealing their fat, cutting up and making them into chicharrones, fried pork rinds, or in this example, fried human rinds. The word pishtaco comes from the word piste from the Quechua language meaning to behead, slit throat, or cut into pieces. Pre-Columbian Peruvian culture held fat in such high regards that they had a deity for it called Viracocha, which means sea of fat. They viewed excess fat as signs of wealth, health, strength, and beauty. Illnesses from them had a root in the loss of body fat. Skeletal thinness was not viewed as healthy or beautiful. Conquistadors would treat their wounds with the fat of their enemies, and this practice was abhorred. It is said that the Spaniards would kill indigenous people and would take their corpses and boil them to obtain the fat so they could use it to grease their weapons, which would rust fast in the Amazon forest.
Oh my God, we need a little bit more of a warning there.
The Spanish missionaries became known as pistacos. It was believed that they were killing indigenous people for their fat. Soap and candles can be made out of fat, and it is believed its roots, in fact, is more likely that it was used for a variety of things. The earliest known reference, the pishtaco legend, is from 1574. According to a priest named Cristobal de Molina, indigenous people of the area avoided the Spaniards and refused to enter their homes and believed that they would be killed for their fat. The legend of pistachio became connected to the Bethlehemite friars who opened a hospital in the year 1700. These friars would travel and beg for alms. The description of a pishtaco is that of a conquistador or friar, described as white. Indigenous communities also have stories of something called the Cauchus or Mikuk, meaning person who consumes. In 1621, Pablo José de Arriaga wrote that according to legend, the Cauchus was a blood-sucking creature who preyed usually on children. Cauchus would sneak into people's homes and put them to sleep using a powder made of human bones. They would scratch the victim with their fingernails and drink the blood from the wound. The victims would die a few days later. It was believed that these blood-sucking creatures would be cause of death.
What on earth?
Peru.
Oh my God.
I tried those who were helping Arriaga were later accused of being Cauchus. It is believed that the legend of Cauchus also merged with the Pishtaco legend, creating this fat-draining vampire.
I wonder, like, is that actually like a thing?
Like a fat-draining vampire?
No. The bone powder is used as a
sleeping.
Sleeping. Well, that's like, oh.
The indigenous people of the Andes were not wrong. Bloodthirsty, fat-stealing vampires is a perfect description for a Spaniard of the time. The inhuman treatment of natives and the horror of Spaniard conquest created this legend. It is a historical fact that human fat was used for medical practice purposes. Natives were viewed as savages and dehumanized because the Spaniards did whatever they wanted to them. In 2009, there was a hoax of Peruvian gangsters who killed people to obtain their fat. They would later sell the human fat to a contact in Lima who were later sold it to European cosmetic laboratories. General Felix Murga, chief of police, stepped down from his job for a while when it was discovered as a cover-up for extrajudicial killing by police. According to the story, the hoax, on November 3rd, 2009, police arrested Serapio Marcos. On November 20th, 3 others were arrested, including the ringleader Hilarios Cuedana Simon. Police claimed that the suspects told them they sold human fat for $15,000 per liter. People started to doubt this story because of liposuction. There was other means to acquire fat, so it would not be sold at $15,000 per liter. Nor was there a demand for human fat. Gang members would serve the body and hang the torso above candles, which warmed the bodies, and the fat would drip into the tubs below.
You keep laughing at me. This is horrifying.
He was given the name Pistacos. Clearly, these police officers were not smart, as the true Pistacos were the members of the Peruvian police. A hoax, but interesting things. I found that interesting because, vampires, you don't think of blood-sucking vampires, but it's like, oh, there's a fat-sucking vampire? That's interesting.
Well, I think.
I mean, if it sucks your fat, then it makes you into chicharrón.
I don't know how to process that story.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. I mean, that's a different approach for a vampire for sure.
But so let's think about it. So you have, let's think about the
I don't know
indigenous
why.
people and the Spaniards, conquistadores. You have these people who are light skinned.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The conquistadors, right?
The conquistador Spaniards are light skinned. They come in, they don't just kill you, they take something from you. In this case, the fat.
Like, why were they taking the fat? Like, was that like just a thing conquistadors
Well,
did?
they're making, like, the friars are making like candles and stuff.
Yeah, but like I've heard people do that like out of animal fat. That for some reason doesn't bother me, but you're doing it off people that you're already like you're conquering, and then you're
let's think about it. They thought they were animals.
mutilating. That's true. That's very true. It's not appropriate, but it's horrifying.
It's horrifying.
I thank God for my modern senses, because that's just so wrong. Like, they're not animals. They're just people who live differently than you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like it. This is why I don't like serial killers, because it's like, yeah, I don't need to know about all the horrible people and things out there in the world. Clearly there's bad people. Let's stick with like real vampires. Oh, but that's like, I'm so horrifying. I never could see it on my face.
Yes, every time I'm reading the corner of my eye, I see your facial reaction. That's why I stopped and laughed. So like,
it's still I'm not laughing. I am laughing at my reaction, but it's really disturbing.
The conquest of the Americas is horrible stories. Everything that happened here in North, here in the United States, Mexico, South America, they're all bad.
Can we go back to Maya and Zats?
They're like, there's nothing like nice about it, kind of thing. Both sides were bad. But,
no, I mean, I think about even just like Road to El Dorado, right? Was it Cortez?
I think so.
He was.
Cortez is
he was terrible person, like terrible to his own crew, just in that movie, and I'm sure that's just a kid's movie, right?
If I'm going to Cortez,
but yeah, and he does all this terrible stuff leading up to trying to find
El
Dorado, and just the main characters reclaim them, right? And like that, you're watching this, and it's like he's a bad guy.
Yep.
And that's watching it as a kid. As an adult, you're like, that's not even the worst of it.
I can be wrong. I can be like 99% wrong. But I want to say there was a kid's song when I was growing up in Mexico. They would sing about Cortez. You know how, like,
like there's a little nursery rhyme for Lizzie Borden.
I was going to say like Christopher Columbus. But like I think for Hernán Cortez. I don't remember. I'll have to look it up and then we can put it in show notes.
Yeah.
But I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. That'd be fun to include.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I really struggle with that. Just, can we just treat each other kindly? That's all we have to do. You don't have to like each other. Just be kind to one another. Apparently that's too much. Apparently.
You ready to go to Jalisco?
Oh, you've got more?
I got more.
Holy
I got
tamale.
more for you.
Okay, but I have one note or one more comment. So when you first start off the description of the pishtaco, it made me think of the X-Files episode with the Batman in the attic, because he's pale.
I saw like a quarter of that episode, and I got bored.
It terrified us as kids because he was hiding out in the attic. And like, I swear that week, my parents, we had a garage, like in the garage, there was an opening that went into the attic, and the attic space was only above the garage. But my parents opened that like door and just left it open. And we were terrified of that because we were worried the Batman was going to come get us. But he was pale and white, and your description made me think of that. So, okay, we have another vampire.
We're going to talk about the vampire tree in Guadalajara, Jalisco.
Hey, we're back in Jalisco.
El Panteón de Belén. A cemetery in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico is full of amazing legends, and one of these legends is that of the vampire tree. This legend takes place in the 18th century when Mexico was still under Spain rule. A man named Jorge moved from Europe to what is now known Guadalajara and bought an hacienda with hopes of settling in and making friends. However, something wasn't right and no one liked him. Soon after he arrived, town folks began noticing their animals were dying or were found to have their blood drained. One night, some of them decided to investigate what was going on, what was doing this, and were hunting at night. Much to their surprise, they found Jorge biting the neck of the animals. They were shocked and tried to chase him, but he was too fast and got away. They didn't know what to do, but they decided to surround his hacienda and drive a stake through his heart. As he was being stabbed, Jorge cried out that he will return one day and get his revenge. He was buried in the Panteón de Belén, but something strange began to occur over his tomb. A tree began to grow, and the townspeople began to believe that the day the tree grew too much and tore would be the day Jorge would return for his revenge. Another version of this tale is that a bruja told the townsfolk they must stab Jorge in the heart with a stake made from un árbol camichin, and they did. After they buried him, they placed a giant rock over his tomb to prevent him from escaping. The rock caused a break, and the camichin branch began to grow from the cracks. The tree is still there, and at least 15 meters in height, and the day it falls, he will return to terrorize Guadalajara. You can see a tree from yourself. Tours are in Spanish, though I've heard they do them in English at certain times. There are also nightmare ghost tours. You can't take pictures unless you pay 250 pesos. It also very good reviews. Aside from a few angry Americans that missed the English tours and didn't want to pay the extra fee for pictures. There's like 20 different versions of this story. I found this one to be the coolest one. But there's a tree and there's a cemetery, and they have like a bunch of different legends.
It's in a cemetery?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like there's a bunch of different legends. And that cemetery is like a nun legend. There's a gravekeeper legend. And there are just a bunch of different things.
So what did the bruja
say? To use a certain branch, a tree branch.
a tree branch. I was like, what are they supposed to stamp him?
Árbol de camichin is a type of tree. And so that tree is the tree that grew out.
Oh. Okay. Got it. Huh. That's a tall tree.
That's a tall tree.
45 feet-ish.
50 meters, 45 feet, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, it's about 3 feet.
Yeah.
In a meter, right?
3 and some change.
Yeah. Interesting. Like, I feel like I've heard different renditions of that kind of a story. And like you said, there's a lot of different versions of that one.
Like when I found this start, and I was like, okay, let's find out a little more about it. And I was like, oh, there's so many different versions of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, cool.
Is it always Jorge?
No, sometimes it's named this guy. Sometimes it's just like the town's like, crazy person. They just happen to be like. There was one story I found. There was like the animals were dying, and then babies were dying. And they were finding bite marks on them. And then there's the town crazy, and they went to the house and found jars of blood in this house. And so they decided to take him out. Interesting.
It's almost kind of similar to the idea of the origins of our modern perception of a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of similar. Not exactly the same, so don't anyone jump on my back about that, but it makes me think of similar. Huh. How do you feel about those
Latin
stories?
American vampires.
Yeah, look at that. We hung out in Latin America today.
And once again, we go back to the same question. If they appear everywhere, does that make them true? How is it that so many different cultures have the same idea?
Right. Cultures that haven't even met. Now, like Latin America, they're probably just traveling, shared stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have the Latin American vampire compared to the European vampire.
Mm-hmm. Cough, cough. the first one kind of was interesting with the whole idea of a fat vampire
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. I was like, okay, that's a different idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad there isn't like an actual like creature.
Mhm.
You jumped right into like setting up the creature into like what it actually was, which, yeah, if you're a native and then you're seeing, or an indigenous person's land, and then these people are coming in and you're seeing them like
Well, like
extracting fat from your friends and family, that looks like a monster and they don't look like you.
well, like if you read indigenous stories about conquistadors, some of them look them as gods because they came wearing gold armors.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them look them as supernatural beings because they did such horrendous things, kind of thing. Remember that story, the movie Hercules with the Rock.
Uh-huh.
So the idea of the centaurs,
Right.
it's like if you don't clearly see it, it looks like a centaur kind of
Mhm.
thing. So like this people look like beings that were beyond.
Right. Well, I mean, even jumping back to Road to El Dorado,
Mhm.
right? When the high priest, he runs into Cortez and he sees him as the leader of the Jaguars
Mhm.
because of how he's dressed.
Yeah.
And I think the sun was reflecting off his armor.
Yeah.
Looked like gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said that, and that's the scene that totally came into my head.
Mm-hmm.
So he like leads them to El Dorado, or tries to.
Mm-hmm.
And so definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, we all have in each of our communities, you have the one end to the other, right?
Yep.
And it is always so fascinating to think about, how can you have a creature, like let's just take Jorge in the bat tree, right? A very basic general vampire-esque
Mm-hmm.
idea of a creature, humanoid-esque creature who consumes blood.
Speaking of consuming blood, it wasn't included in the story, but I read some other story that if you pull a branch off, it bleeds.
Oh, I think I've heard that. I think I've heard about that. Like a bleeding tree, right?
But yeah, no, it's like, so you have the story. Some got it. Yes, he came from Europe, so maybe all vampires come from Europe.
But not necessarily.
Mhm.
So let's just say that's in Latin America. How did that get from there
To
from Europe?
here.
Or were the stories popping up at the same time? I mean,
Yeah,
it's a big world out there.
big world out there.
Hard to convince me that there's not at least one supernatural creature out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we talked about Essies all over the world. Ready for our new section?
Yep.
Our card
Round 2.
round 2. So,
What's it gonna be?
as we continue drawing cards, I forgot I mentioned in our previous episode, but the card will be removed from the deck, so there's no chance of being drawn again.
Right. So we keep getting a new cryptid each
Every
time.
Yeah. Once again, these cards are Clash of Cryptids. They're cards from Afterlight Comics, an independent horror comic publisher from the UK.
Yep.
They're very cool. They're very detailed. The feel of the cards are amazing. The description of them are pretty cool. And then,
It's actually supposed to be a card game,
yeah,
but we just fell in love with the illustrations so much. We wanted to use these as our random cryptid pool.
can you cut deck?
Cut the deck.
Okay. Are you pulling or am I pulling?
Mm.
You can pull. You can pull this time.
You're not gonna shuffle after you cut it?
No, you don't shuffle after you cut it.
I do.
Oh, whatever. You weirdo.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
What is our cryptid this time?
Our cryptid is the Beast of Bray Road.
A
It's
beast
gonna be
of Bray
hard to come
Road.
up with a cocktail for. Yep.
What does the bad boy look like?
He's a Wisconsin cryptid.
Ooh.
So I'm thinking of my dear friend, Penny Stark.
Can hit her up and find out what about it.
I'm gonna have to be.
I forgot to read the description.
Hey Penny. No, we didn't.
Yeah,
We're saving it for when we reveal the cocktail.
That is an ugly looking dude.
He is.
Do we show what
So
looks like?
handsome. Yeah, you could show it. Maybe right here.
giant puppy.
That bread with a frog.
A giant puppy frog. But yeah.
Oh my god, that thing's horrifying. Stanza. Okay.
Are you ready for last call?
Yeah. Do we have anything to add to the last call?
Nope. This is a delicious drink.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Penny, you're gonna have to help me out here.
I'm gonna hit you up, Penny. Maybe you can get us a story.
You got it to stand up. No, I can't. There we go.
Well, maybe you had too much to drink. Okay then. Thanks for sipping along with us. We want to keep the spirits flowing, so please be sure to show your support by reviewing and subscribing to our podcast.
I've had too much to drink.
If you enjoyed this show, be sure to share with others. 13 episodes in. We've had a fun run. You guys have been loving it, I hope.
Yeah, I hope so.
You guys have been watching it, so that's good. Or listening, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Let us know. Chat us up. You can always do that by finding us on our website. We're also on all podcast hosts. So if you decide, you know what, I don't want to listen on Apple Podcasts anymore, let's jump over to Spotify. You can still find us there. If you want to bring more of a conversation to the table, we're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. You want to hear what all this fumbling is about when we're talking? You can watch us on YouTube. We also do videos on how we mix up the cocktails that we're presenting in each episode. So every episode that has a cocktail, you can see how we made it. And we try to share the ingredients there as well. We also do give a shopping list of each cocktail on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to really utilize those social media outlets to bring another layer that you guys can connect with us on.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay then. You ready? We
Yep.
hope to catch you guys around the bar next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
There, that's better. Click.